D&D has a lot of spells, with pretty much an incantation for every situation. You can create fireballs, transform into animals, speak with the dead, and even control minds. But while a lot of the magic in the game is designed for players, some spells feel tailor-made for dungeon masters. Yes, you can hand wave a lot by just calling it DM magic, but sometimes you want to be able to point at the book and say, see, it's in the rules. Whether they help facilitate storytelling moments or let you get around common pitfalls, in this video I want to give you 6 spells that I think every dungeon master should know are out there. You might want to keep these written on your game screen. Without further ado, let's get started. Some of the most tense moments in movies, video games, and books are when a villain confronts the heroes. They banter, threaten one another, and learn more about their opponent's motives. And then the villain heads off to wait for the climactic fight later on. In D&D, it's really tempting to do this in your campaigns. But as many of us know, if you put your villain in front of the players, there's a good chance that fiend isn't getting out of there alive. Anytime your bad guy comes face to face with the party, you risk the players outsmarting, trapping, and taking them down. Or on the flip side, if they do fight and the enemy gets away, the whole thing may be more frustrating than fun. Projected Image gives your evil mages a way to converse with the party without the risk of losing their life. It's a 7th level spell, allowing them to conjure an illusion of themselves up to 500 miles away in any location they've seen before. They can see, hear, and speak using the image, as well as move it around, though it can't physically interact with anything. So long as your villain knows where they are, especially if they've just fallen into a trap they had laid out, they can chat with your party to their heart's content, without risk of being taken down or getting in a fight that your party can't possibly win. It does disappear if it takes any damage, so they might have to cast it twice if your party is a little more hot-headed, but the price will certainly be worth the chance for them to meet face to face, and then trigger the trap door that will unleash the dragon your players have to fight. A world with widespread access to teleportation is a very dangerous world. What's stopping the evil necromancer your players are trying to stop from just popping into the queen's throne room and killing everyone inside? Or on the flip side, why can't your party's wizard just teleport the group into the evil fortress of the fiend they're trying to take down? In all honesty, most major castles, temples, and important places would probably have a way to protect themselves from unwanted intruders, right? Well, they do. Forbiddance is a 6th level spell that does just that. It prevents anyone from teleporting into an area, including through things like the gate spell or plane shift. And if you cast it on the same spot for 30 days, that enchantment becomes permanent until dispelled with other magic. This is the perfect justification for why your party can't just teleport into the top of the Lich's Tower and avoid the entire dungeon you drew up. Or why, unfortunately, they can't plane shift into the king's private chambers to spy on their secret meeting. A word of caution though, this is still a 6th level spell and would really only be accessible to a few places. There are absolutely times when you should let your players teleport to avoid obstacles or get inside certain areas. It'll quickly become really annoying when every peasant's house they try to sneak into has powerful magic warding it. But for those times when you really need them to find a clever way inside or go through the dungeon you've planned out, Forbiddance can be a godsend. Visions are a common technique used in storytelling. The hero receives images of faraway places, future events, and sacred deities, giving them vital information for their quest. D&D is no different. Sometimes you need your players to learn something or have a conversation with someone so they can advance the plot or be better informed as to their decisions. Enter the 5th level spell, Dream. Your NPC or someone they've chosen goes into a trance and then appears in a target's dream. They can shape the landscape around them too and can even look terrifying if they want to. Now, your adventure patrons and nefarious villains can contact your players from across the world and in a way where they can get much more information across than from a simple sending spell. The ability to change the terrain of the dream means they can show them places, events, and important sites that would be a lot harder to convey with just words alone. But make sure the sender would actually know when they're asleep. Time zones exist in fantasy worlds too. This next one is a classic D&D spell, but I put it here just in case any dungeon masters don't know about it or haven't considered using it. In between sessions, you'll often find yourself trying to decide how your enemies react to the player's actions. If the party just broke into the evil castle and stole the book of important plot knowledge, well, certainly the villains will want to know where they are and how to get it back. How do you justify their minions tracking down the party from miles away without it feeling like the enemies are metagaming a bit? Well, that's what Scrying is for. It's a 5th level spell and allows the user to target a creature, and if they fail to save, see where they are and a bit of what's around them. If they have things from the party, even better, since it makes the save tougher. And if someone tries to scry and it fails, the target is still left unaware that anything even occurred. Now your villains can attempt to spy on the party, and when the barbarian inevitably fails their wisdom saving throw, they can figure out where the players are and how best to attack them. You definitely shouldn't do this all the time. It'll become tedious if every time they try to take a long rest, the next wave of the villain's forces are there. But sometimes it's fun for the enemies to get the drop on your players, and Scrying helps you do just that. The evil lich has started a ritual that will summon Olgaroth, god of destruction, and the big bad evil guy of your campaign. Months of sessions have led up to this moment, and your party has arrived just in time to stop the monster from being born again. Or have they? If your lich is smart, they might have learned to cast Wall of Force, a nifty tool to have in your arsenal when your villains really need a bit of time to get something done or talk to your players without fear of getting ganged up on. For a Fizz level spell slot, Wall of Force is well worth the cost. It creates an invisible barrier that can't be physically passed by any means. The spell magic can't break it, it doesn't take any damage. Really, the only thing that can bring it down is a 6th level Disintegrate spell. Sure, the players can teleport past it if they have the means, but then this combos well with Forbiddance, which would prevent that teleportation from taking place. If your party is clever and plans well, they should absolutely be able to stop your villains' plans before they take off. But for a quick escape or to buy some time, Wall of Force can give your bad guys just what they need. For the last spell on this list, I've chosen one that I truly believe should be used sparingly. But when you do hit your players with it, it's guaranteed to have a big impact if used right. Let's face it, magic can solve so many problems in this game. Teleporting, damage, unlocking doors, transformation, the list goes on and on. Sometimes you just wish those pesky casters would have to put down their wands and come up with some other clever ways to get out of deadly scenarios, as well as give your marshals a chance to shine more too. Well, as you might have guessed, there's a spell for that. Antimagic Field is an 8th level spell, but it has the incredibly powerful effect of nullifying all magic within 20 feet of the caster. Short of artifacts and effects created by gods, any magic item, cast spell, or magical ability that attempts to enter or be used inside the range of the spell is completely negated. A mage who gets in close to the party casters and then uses this spell makes your players instantly more vulnerable to all of their minions, or their own weapons if they're good with both. But here's where I think, as a DM, you can bend this one a little bit. Lots of dungeon masters use this as a way to create more general anti-magic fields within their games. Sure, a caster using this is cool, but it becomes much more terrifying when paired with traps, or if an entire chamber is warded against magic. An anti-magic rune on a spiked ceiling that's slowly descending toward your players, preventing them from teleporting away, is a horrifying trap. Or a rune in the floor of an arena that's keeping the casters from using their spells while the Death Knight approaches with their sword. Using anti-magic fields can be a great way to challenge the party and create some memorable moments. Just don't overdo it and slap them on every wall and doorway. Use this power responsibly. Those are 6 spells I think every dungeon master should know about, and when used right, they can really enhance your game and help justify some of the challenges you throw at the party. Are there other spells that you think DMs should have in their arsenal, or that your own game master used against you in a really cool way? I'd love to hear them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like is always appreciated. If you want to see more, you should consider subscribing to the Bard's College. I make videos like this one, all about D&D, DMing, and everything in between, so stick around. But for now, good luck, and remember, crit your players.